And Jesus says something for the first time, and our worlds are rocked because of it. I'm going to paraphrase for you. Jesus tells Nicodemus, if you want to know God, if you want to be righteous in the sight of God, you need to be absolutely perfect. Let me say that again. If you want to be with God, if you want to be seen by God as righteous, then you are going to have to be completely 100% perfect. And then he spends the next several minutes telling Nicodemus the reason why I came to earth was so that you could be righteous before God. But you cannot do it on your own. You are going to need help. It's like going to, let me just pick a town. All right, so my dad was born in Slick, Oklahoma. Yes, it exists. The best person to take you to Slick is somebody who's been to Slick. And there ain't many people that have been there. I have been to Slick, Oklahoma. It has a grocery store. It has a post office. And I don't remember much else. But the best way to go there is talk to somebody, to hang out with somebody who's been there. This whole reading that we read together, it's summarized by saying that God sent me into this world so that anybody that wants to be with God, they can come follow me. It seems simple. And there's a fancy word that describes that, because people have been trying to be righteous before God all of their lives. The guy we're reading about, his name is Nicodemus. He's one of those guys. He has spent all of his life seeking out righteousness. That's why what Jesus is telling him is so confusing. Nicodemus, you have got to be born again. What do you mean, I've got to be born again? I thought what I've got to do is all of the religious activity. You know, the 10 Commandments? You do those things. You know, the holy worship services? You go to those things. That's what you have to do to be right before God. And Jesus says, actually, that's wrong. Because you can do all of those things. You can follow the rules. You can go to the worship experiences. You can do all of that long list of things. And when you finish at the end, how many of you know you're still not perfect? Because the standard for being seen righteous before God is perfection. So there's a word that describes how that because of Jesus, we can actually be seen right before God. That message is called the gospel. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you what the gospel is. And Jordan, I'm going to ask you to come forward, young man. Do it quickly. Everybody give Jordan a hand. Don't be nervous. I don't have any swords or knives. It's going to be all good. All right, so stand over here. All right, right there. And when I tell you, come this way. All right, so in this analogy, Jordan, you are God. Congratulations. Don't be nervous, all right? So I'm me. I'm representing all of us, all right? You're God. So there is a popular teaching that I think is completely wrong. Here's the teaching, all right? If I, as a human being, take one step towards God, he'll take one step towards me. And if I keep taking steps toward God, he'll come towards me, and eventually I'll meet God in the middle. That is incorrect. Let me show you why. See, the problem with living this life is every time I try to do better in my relationship with my wife, I end up doing something stupid and I find myself back to square one. I'll take 2 steps in developing a better relationship with my kids, and then something happens and I can't find the remote control, and oh, I'm back to square one. I want to become a more generous person in my life and not be so selfish. And then I find, in this particular area, I don't want to be generous. And I find myself back here. It is completely absurd to think that I can do anything in this life on my own. But now here is the gospel. Here is the good news. As soon as I finally figure out I cannot do this on my own, all I do is say, God, help me. And then I can start taking steps. Do you see the difference? They don't see the difference. Do it again. I'm trying to do this, but I can't do this because I end up back here. Because it doesn't matter how good I am, I'm never going to be perfect. How in the world can I get to God when I've never been there before? He's got to send Jesus, who's been to God. He knows the direction. He's been to Slick, Oklahoma. And now he can take me there. Thank you, Jordan. Let's give Jordan a hand. Appreciate that.